Good morning, sir. My name is Priyansh Balwani, 23DCE005, and I am a student of Computer Engineering Department at DevStar. This interview is a part of our assignment to understand the role of software engineering in the IT industry. We are eager to hear your insights and experiences, and thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. The interview will consist of 20 questions and should take about like 15 minutes. If it's all right, could you start by sharing a bit of your role and your background?
Sure. Hello. Hi, everyone. So, very glad to talk with you guys and sharing the insights uh, on this topic that we're discussing today. So, my role as a software engineer basically consists of me understanding the problem statements and requirements that are projected by the client to us and designing and developing solutions for the same.
All right.
Also, it consists of debugging and maintaining the code that is already being developed and fixing if there are any issues with the ongoing project that we have developed.
Sir, now Prush Bhalara 23DC008 would start with some questions to get a deeper knowledge about your profession and the industry.
Sure, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. My name is Prush.
Hi, Prish.
Sir, let me start with the general role of software engineering. So, how do software engineering principles contribute to the overall success of a project?
Okay, so basically, the software engineering principles are considered to be a set of rules, right, that help in maintaining and scaling the project that we have already developed and minimizing the costs because there would not be any mistakes or code errors that would be found later on as we follow these principles. So it basically helps us to maintain and write a scalable code and to basically to make it cost effective and efficient.
Yes, so for you, what are some of the key challenges you face as a software engineer?
Okay, so basically, since we have a huge team working with us, some of the key challenges would be to collaborate with other dependent components in our project itself. Secondly, understanding the requirements from the client and meeting shorter deadlines, which occur sometimes to us, are the major challenges that we face in our regular day at work. Prish, you're on mute, I suppose. I'm not able to hear you.
Yes, sorry, sir. So, how do you ensure the quality of the software in your projects?
Okay, so the code quality, basically we follow certain standards for maintaining the code quality and ensure that it is up to the mark. So we have processes like peer review, we have processes like architect review. Apart from that, we follow the general coding practices, right, and ensure that the standards are up to the mark and the code is efficient as possible, and as flawless as possible.
Okay, so how important is the documentation in your daily work?
Okay, so I'd say that each and everything that is being developed starts with a documentation and ends with a documentation. So what I would say is we get requirements in form of SRS, right? You might be knowing about these practices. So as you might have come across this term, do you know what SRS is? So SRS is a software requirement specification that is given by that serves as an agreement between the client and us while developing developing a piece of problem that they have given to us. So basically, it all starts there, which follows with the design, which again has documentation about the class diagrams and all that stuff, how it is being developed. Following which, after the development, we also have the technical design document. We have the API documentations. So everything that we code or develop has a counterpart as a form of documentation. So it is really very important to maintain the consistency across all the stakeholders and also the clients, uh, to so that there's no miscommunication or misunderstanding that happens later on.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your information. And now let me hand over Deep to ask these questions.
Sure, thank you, Prash.
Hello sir, myself Deep Ardeshna. I am student at Depstar Charusat. My ID is 23DC004. My
Yeah,
first
thank you.
question is my first question is, can you share one example of software engineering standards like ISO or CWM follow in your organization?
Okay, so I'd say that our, sorry, our organization, basically our project follows ISO 9001, ISO 20000, and ISO 27000 standards, and we have received the certificates for the same, which basically ensure the security, maintenance, and compliance to the standards of software engineering.
Okay. My next question is, how does adhering to industry standards affect the outcome of a software product?
Okay, so I'd say that it is an important or crucial factor in developing a good quality product. So if you're adhering to standards which are set, which are being practiced, which are being experimented earlier, when we follow those practices, it is easy to maintain and understand the code, even for you, even for other developers. So that is quite essential, and I'd say that it should be followed to to for the smooth following of processes during the development and even after the development.
Okay. The next question is, what software practice does your regularly follow, like DevOps or any other?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you properly. The audio is breaking.
What software
Could you please?
engineering what software engineering practice does your team regularly follow, like DevOps or any other?
Okay. Okay. So basically, our project works on the agile practice, which is divided into sprints. Okay, and there are calls to groom the backlog. There are sprints. There are calls every day, which are known as daily stand-ups. Which are There are calls after the sprint, which are retrospective calls that help in analyzing the work of the team during the whole sprint. So this is what agile is, and that's what we follow. Apart from this, we also follow DevOps for the continuous integration and deployment of code into production.
My next question is, how do software engineering principles help in managing large and complex software systems?
Sorry.
How do software engineering principles help in managing large and complex software systems?
Okay. So I'd say that software engineering basically is the guideline which teaches us to break down the complexity of uh, a huge project into smaller chunks and make it quite manageable. Say suppose we have terms like decoupling, right, which prevents from dependency between multiple components. Right. We have abstraction which hides the complexity of the code and is just helpful with whatever is required for the user to utilize. So all these things are very essential in managing the complexity of the whole project.
Okay. My last question is, how you ensure that the software you design is maintainable or scalable?
Okay. So again, we ensure that the coding practices are followed well. Okay, and we use various tools for that. We also like the code is reviewed at several stages. The design is thought thoroughly, depending on the requirements that come. So we ensure that all of the system is uh, is very much robust, so that in case if there's a requirement to change things, it can adapt quickly, and the maintenance is easy for the same.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now I will hand over to my friend Ran.
Sure, thank you.
Hello sir, myself Raj Pradhani. My ID number is 23DC006. I have a question that how does software engineering promote better collaboration among team members?
Better collaboration among the okay. And so actually, see, since software engineering enhances due to the enhancements of software engineering, right, we have tools that help the whole team collaborate. I'd say that I am one of the projects which has a huge number of team members, right? So the collaboration becomes easier when we use version control tools like Git, right? Which is the biggest platform for code collaboration in our case, right? There are several other platforms, but we use Git at our organization. Secondly, we have tools like Jenkins, which the DevOps team or the DevOps practices people use for the continuous integration and continuous deployment. That is CI/CD for the code, right? And for tracking the efficiency and tracking the work of several team members, we use tools like Jira. And apart from this, since it's an agile model, right? So the Scrum Master ensures the productivity of each and every person working in the project as per the agile standards. So this is how the
Can you-
collaboration takes place at our place.
Okay. Can you describe the role of communication in software development?
Okay, what I'd say is communication is very crucial part in software development to understand the. See, it starts from understanding the requirement of the problem, and it ends at demonstrating the solution to the client. So, being a good communicator allows you to make various things easy in the project itself. So, if you are a good communicator, you would be able to smoothly coordinate with other members of the team. You'd be able to give out great productivity, right? And also, if there's a requirement, like if you have questions, if you have concerns, you'd be easily able to pass it on and get a solution for that. And that's why we have meetings, right? See, communication is important, and that's why we have a call every day in the morning to get and share the updates. We have calls if everybody, if anyone has a difficulty, right? So communication is plays a very crucial role in the software engineering process.
How does your team handle conflict or misunderstanding during software development?
So, conflict or misunderstanding during the development, is that what you're asking, right? Okay. So, see, there are various things, there are various steps, right, that each and every organization follows uh, to ensure that there are lesser number of errors or misunderstanding among the team, right? Some of those might be integration testing, right? Then, as I said before, development, like merging the code or deploying the code, there are reviews at several stages, right? Your peers review the code, your architects review the code, right? So we ensure that the requirements. So basically, I'd just summarize it into that. We make sure that the requirements are very clear to us. Okay. okay, so that we are not developing something wrong, or we might not have understood something wrong, and we are following the same. Secondly, we have tests, right? We have code reviews, which ensure that even if something has not been developed as per the requirement, it is detected at earlier stages, which reduces the cost later on. Okay, so it is caught early, it is fixed, and then it is deployed during the cycle itself, so that we don't have something wrong that has gone till production, till the user uses it. So we eliminate it in this way, and we manage the misunderstanding in this way.
What technology do you usually for implementing?
Wait, let me take over from
Technologies.
here. So the question
Alright.
is, what tools or technologies do you rely on for implementing software engineering principles?
Okay. All right. So as I mentioned it earlier, we have several tools and technologies that we use for implementing agile as well as software engineering principles in our project. So some of them would be Git for collaboration and version control, and Jenkins for CI/CD, that is continuous integration and continuous deployment. We have Jira to for tracking and other purposes, basically for tracking the efforts, for tracking the user stories or the work that is being taken on for a sprint. Um, these are pretty much, and yeah, there would be other things if you consider like IDEs, right? We use Eclipse. Also, we use API testing tools like Postman, which help us to test the API that we have developed. We have VS Code for developing and checking the UI components that our team develops. So yeah, these are pretty much all the tools that are being used uh, in the organization.
Moving further, how do you decide which technology to use for a project?
Okay, so basically it's designed based on what requirements do we get from the client, and which technology would be suitable for a given problem. So let me give you an example that in some cases, in some problems, we might require no SQL database. In some of them, we might require SQL database. We have integrated backend APIs in Spring as well as Node at our organization, depending on what is the requirement, how fast is the response required, is it a heavy communication between the server and the client, or it is a quick one. So there are various factors that are considered, and based on those factors, we select the technologies that are used for a particular problem. And it is discussed at the level where the team experts, the technology experts, what all resources, what all skills do the resources possess, and all these factors are also considered.
Okay, so the next question is, how does following software engineering practices reduce risks in a software project?
Uh, so following the practices, as I said, restrict you from taking an error to the final level. Okay. So since we follow an iterative model, we have sprints, we have testings, right? So if there's a misunderstanding, if there's a misinterpretation, if there's an error in the code, it is detected at earlier stages, which prevents high cost errors at later stages in the development. Also, since again it's an iterative process, it's easy to track the progress. It's easy to roll out the developments that are done during the cycles that are called sprints. So software engineering allows us to uh, streamline this process of development.
Okay. So, moving next, can you share an example where software engineering principles helped you solve a critical issue?
Okay. So I'd say that I have many such instances. but I'll share a few of them. So, in our project, we have a strong focus on decoupling of systems. Okay. So, the frameworks or the projects that are individually created in Git are not tightly dependent on each other, right? So, there's a loose coupling between the projects. So we utilize modules into another modules, but they are interdependent very loosely. Or you can say in a way that they are independent modules that aid each other for the whole system to work. So this is how we have incorporated the software engineering principles in our project.
All right, now moving to career insights. What inspired you to pursue a career in software engineering?
Okay. So as a person who loves to solve problems and who again loves to make machines work as per your requirement, right? I love the balance that software engineering gives me in problem solving and designing of solutions, right? So what I like about it is, or what inspired me was to was to solve real life problems where you can program a machine that would help you to an extent which reduces your effort and gives you easy solutions to it.
All right, and how do you stay updated with the latest trends and best practices in software engineering?
Okay, so this is one of the parts that I like being a software engineer. There are things that come up every day. There are things that I have never heard before. AI was not something that I had heard when I was graduating. It wasn't at the level where it is right now, right? So the technology keeps moving or revolving rapidly with time. So it's very necessary to keep yourself up to date. And what I do for myself is I follow articles, I read magazines, I read articles, tech articles. I go to platforms like Stack Overflow till date for some issues. I go to Geeks for Geeks if I need some help. I follow Medium to know what is other people's perspective or what other people have experienced about it, posting blogs about it, posting tech articles on Medium. One thing that I have recently added is I also use the GPT tools for my understanding wherever I need. So it has also added to the list of the platforms that I use for updating myself.
Okay, so lastly, what advice would you give to students aspiring to become a software engineer?
Okay. So what I say is that keep your like focus on creating good and optimized code following the practices rather than bringing up solutions. See, finding solutions is easier, but finding good solutions is what we all require. Also, I'd suggest to keep yourself up to date and utilize the most optimum tech that you find for a given problem. Say, suppose we have legacy softwares that are used for problems that can be resolved in an easier way if a new tech was used. Okay. But the thing is, like, it never happens every time. It seldom happens, and when it happens, it gives an optimum solution which is maintainable, which is scalable at a very good level. So, if you are aware about and if you are up to date with the technologies that are there in the industry, it will be easier and it will also help in building good code.
Uh, okay, so thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us. It has been incredibly helpful and informative. We may now conclude the call.
Thank you so much. It was good
Thank you,
having
sir.
these
Thank you.
questions from you all. Thank you so much.